Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Nicole Frolic of Inflexible Me, and today I'm going to talk about Pleiadians with you. I'm going to give you guys my first contact with Pleiadians that I saw with my actual physical eyes. I talked about it in a previous video just a couple weeks ago, but the reason why I want to talk to you guys about it today is because this week on my podcast, Enlighten Up, we released our hypnosis episode where all three of us went under hypnosis separately with Nori Love. And on this particular episode, I shared a 20-minute recording of my session where I received a Pleiadian activation. Plus a couple other things. Like I visited a water planet, which I go into great detail about what I saw. And it was a really beautiful experience for me. It was very interesting. And so I actually share that with you guys on the episode that just came out last Thursday. So to lead up into that, I actually wanted to share with you guys my first physical contact with the Pleiadians. Now, when I was in my early 20s, which was about 20 years ago, I sought out a naturopath for a lot of my healing. I just really wasn't into Western medicine. I didn't want to mask my symptoms. I really wanted to get to the root of what was going on, and I really wanted to do it the most natural way. And I happened to, how I found her was a very synchronistic event. I actually talk about it on the second episode of the podcast that we ever did, where I express how I kind of got on my spiritual journey. And she was actually quite fundamental in the beginning stages of it. So when I first started seeing her, I found out that she was also not very conventional when it came to naturopaths. So never mind that she was unconventional when it came to Western medicine, but she was even unconventional as a naturopath. She did a lot of past life regression. We did dolphin brain repatterning. We did a whole slew of things that I had never heard about before. And so she really opened me up to all this 20 years ago. And one of the things that she first gave me was she told me that I needed to read a book on the Pleiadians. And she was the first person who introduced them to me, which I didn't think was any sort of coincidence that I was introduced to that back then. Now, I've always resonated with the Pleiadians and feel that that is part of my home. And so last year in 2017, the early summer of 2017, I went through a very tough time spiritually. I had an experience that maybe one day I'll share with you guys all. It had to do with twin flames and walk-ins. And I felt very violated from it. And it was an experience that really rocked my faith in my own spiritual connection, people within the spiritual community who I had looked up to. And it just kind of really sent me on a downward spiral of not knowing where to grab onto to maintain my faith, because at that point I was meditating every day, sometimes for 2 hours a day. Like my meditations were just everything to me, and my visions were really strong, and I was getting so many messages, and it was a huge part of my growth up until this point. And then it all started to fall away after this incident. And I had gone back to Canada, and I was just really struggling to connect, really struggling. There were so many other things that were going on that were really sending me into a downward spiral as well, that were rocking my faith in certain relationships that I had with people and just trust in general. And so I decided to go into meditation one evening at the beginning of summer. It was sometime in June of 2017. And I was connecting. I asked to connect to my Pleiadian family. And in this meditation, I felt that they were listening to me and that I had connected, and I was desperately asking them to let me know that they're here, that they're around, because I felt very alone at this point. It was, my faith had been rocked so much that I really felt alone. And I was crying in this meditation and just really just begging for someone to say, if you hear me, please let me know you're here. And so after that meditation, I had come out of it. I decided to go downstairs, and the house was completely dark. Everyone was sleeping. And this was about 10:30 in the evening. And I went downstairs to get water, because I always like to have water with me when I go to bed. And as I was at the water cooler, I heard in my mind, look out the window. And so I thought, okay, where did that come from? So where the water cooler was there's a bay of windows and sliding doors to go out into the backyard. And so I stood at the sliding doors and I was looking out, and it was a beautiful night. It was close to full moon, because the backyard was well lit up just from the night sky. And there's a huge maple tree in the backyard. And as I was looking at the maple tree, and I didn't even know what I was supposed to be looking at, to be quite honest. So I'm just kind of looking around, taking it all in. And I had a vision of fireflies come into my mind. And I thought, oh, how cool would it be to just see fireflies? And then all of a sudden, this big white orb appeared in the maple tree. And it took me by surprise, because when this sort of thing happens to you and you're not used to seeing it all the time, because I'm not someone who's clairvoyant and can see it all the time. Like, I see things at certain times, but I'm not that person who was like gifted with it from birth and just, it's been with me since I was a child. At least I don't remember that. And so when I saw it, it freaked me out. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I thought in my mind, I was like, Nicole, you're seeing this. You're seeing this. This is real. This is real. Don't write this off when it's done. And this white orb, about the size, it was between the size of, it was bigger than a baseball, but smaller than a soccer ball. And it darted. This is how it was moving. It wasn't just kind of floating. It darted out of the maple tree. It shot up through the maple tree. And then it went sideways, back the other way, back out in front, back into the maple tree. And this happened for almost a minute. Okay. So it wasn't like a 2-second thing and then it was gone. I sat there in awe, just watching. And in that moment, I just felt so at peace. And I knew that it was a non-corporeal entity of my Pleiadian family showing up to let me know that they're here and they're hearing me and I'm being heard and I'm being watched over, and to have faith. So eventually, like, it stopped darting and then it was just gone. It was instantly just gone. And it was just really cool. Now, a lot of people aren't familiar with the term non-corporeal entity. And so when you have these encounters, they can either show up in a corporeal entity, which is a physical, where you see it in front of you and you see them completely, or it'll show up in a non-corporeal entity, which is more etheric, energetic form, so like an orb, a light, things like that. And so that's what I was shown. And I ran back upstairs and sat right back where I was meditating, and I got on my phone with my girlfriend, and who does DNA activation. And I said, oh my God, you'll never guess what just happened to me. I'm so excited. And I told her, and she just giggled and she's like, yeah, they're just letting you know they're here. And I was like, yeah, that's what I kind of picked up on. And so it was just a really cool experience for me, because I was really needing it. I was really in a low place. And so I know that I've gotten some questions about my previous ET video, about whether I actually saw it or was it just in my imagination. And I will say that, unfortunately, there's no way I can prove this to anyone. I can only just tell you guys what I've experienced and how I perceive things and what feels real to me and what doesn't. And I think that goes for most people. Sometimes we can capture things on film, on camera, and that's really cool. But I'm not someone who like goes out there to pull my, I just love to be in the moment of it. So I'm never thinking of like, I got to prove this and capture it. Like, to me, it's proof and it's all I need for me. And so now, going forward to this moment in time right now, we just released this episode, and it's called A Pleiadian Activation, Train Rides Back to 1991, and Visiting a Water Planet with Nori Love. It's episode 66, I believe. And in that episode, I actually share the hypnosis session with you guys. So you'll be able to feel and see. It's so descriptive what I share that, and it felt so real to me what I saw in the hypnosis. And I literally could feel the energy coming through my body when I was being activated through the Pleiadian activation, as well as when I was gifted an energy from this planet, this water planet. And I take you guys all through that. So if you guys are interested in hearing that, I don't want to put it up in all these different places. And so if you want, I'm going to leave a link for that actual episode in the description below for all of you to go click onto and listen to. And we go through all three of our experiences on this hypnosis because we all had very different experiences. And I think that's important to share because they're not all the same. And it's really dependent on where we are in our journey and what we need to be shown in that particular moment. And sometimes it's not what we expect, or perhaps even what we think we want, but it's actually really good for our journey. So that's kind of like what happened with me. Now in the Pleiadian activation, I'll be descriptive of what I saw. I'll be descriptive of what transformed. And it's really cool. It's really cool. So I hope you guys listen to it. And I'd be curious to hear what you guys think. And if you've had any similar experiences, maybe not with Pleiadians, but with maybe the Sirians, Andromedans. I don't know where your soul family, galactic family is, and maybe it's a hybrid of different, because I've met people who are hybrids of Sirians and oh, what's the other one? I can't remember. Anyways, but I've met people who are hybrids. And so check it out. Tell me what you guys think. I'd be kind of curious. And also, for some of you, you've written into us guests that you'd like to come on the show. And we have been able to get some of those guests on the show. So we've got a really good lineup up until November lined up for you guys. So we've got Amalia Karis coming on the show, which we're going to be talking about negative entities and sex and love and a few darker things that are kind of like going on in the world right now, because I feel like they need to be talked about. I've got Diane Canfield coming on the show. She's willing to answer all your questions that are related to the collective, not personal. So if you've got questions for that you want answered on the show, please send those in to us. We have Jennifer Hugh coming on. Really excited. She's able to go into your entire hologram and see your potential. Beyond even just your 3D DNA, but your multidimensional DNA. Very cool. And we got a whole bunch. We've got, the Lemurian plug people, they're coming on this in October. So we've got tons of great stuff coming up for you guys. And I actually am going to do a video on the Lemurian plug because I've had one for almost 2 years now and I love it. And so lots of great stuff coming up for you guys. So if you're not listening to the podcast yet and you're interested, links in the description below. The actual link to the episode that I talked about today is also down there. And guys, if you're not subscribed to my newsletter and you're interested, I've just released, starting this week, I'm doing readings for all my subscribers, just an energy reading through tarot for the subscribers to kind of give them some extra insight that is on top of like my monthly crystal card reading. So that one I give out to all of you guys, but if you're interested in getting access to that, that is through my newsletter, which you can get at my website, influxlomi.com. And what else is going on? You've got great t-shirts like available, like really fun spiritual t-shirts. So there's all of that, that's it, guys. That's it. So I just wanted to kind of share that with you because I haven't shared it, the details of it. I have on the podcast, but not here with you guys on the YouTube channel. And I thought it was just like the right timing. Sometimes I feel like it's all about timing when it feels organic to me. I never like to put things out forced wise. Like if the energy's right, then I'll do it. That's how my guidance comes through. And so I just wanted to share that with you guys today. All right. So I love you all. Have a great week. And I hope that this whole month of September has been better for you. It definitely has been for me. And I'm excited to see what's coming up for us in October. And that energy reading will be coming out soon too. And that's about it, guys. Okay, I love you all. Have a wonderful week, and I'll be back soon.